so good to have a live podcast again. And I'm very happy that today Dr. Mehdi Alavi is with me. He is a very prominent figure working on peace. What he is doing, what he is thinking, where he is doing, and what are the outcomes of his activities, we will discuss with him after this short intro. So allow me to play the intro and invite Dr. Mehdi Alvi, and we will go further on. Hello, Dr. Mehdi Alvi. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello. So, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
I'm very thankful that you joined us today, and I hope everything is good there.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping us to set up the video.
Yeah, that's my job. That's my job. Sometimes we have to manage things. How is your health now?
Fantastic. Very good. I'm very active. I usually walk a lot and go to gym a couple of times a week. So it keeps me busy and I have
That's
to
great.
squeeze it in my schedule.
That's great. That's great. Uh, Dr. Mehdi, I would like you to first invite yourself with your work, with your organization, and as I know that you are working on peace for last 10 years. Uh, so we would love to hear you about your organization, your work, and a small intro of yourself.
For the last 20, 30 years, I have been an advocate for peace. And about in 2011, some of my children friends encouraged me and said, you feel so passionate about peace, why not to organize, set up an organization. At that time in 2011, we set up Peace Worldwide Organization, and and we started within a few months publishing civility report. And our intention was that civility report covers all the countries within the United Nations, which really covers about over 99% of population of the world. And look at every country and look at all the international organizations and the rating or evaluating those countries, but summarize it, put it all together, and give each country a particular score in human rights, in democracy, in global peace, and a collective score of civility, civility for each country. And so far, we've been doing it. I think this year, right now, we're working on the 10th edition of Civility Report. The organization also, the first chapter we set up was in Kenya, and that chapter started with a few people in it, and within a few years, it had more than 400 people. I've not been in contact with them for a few years, but I know they are operating in 4 or 5 different countries, and they have a lot of peacemakers actively promoting peace. Our idea is in each community, people get together without any discrimination, without any gender differentiation, get together, discuss how they can live together peacefully. That's really our objective. And so far, you know, every group we have helped to set up, they generally do that. They all get together and discuss. I think if we want to have world peace, we need to start it at home, become more peaceful with our own family, become more peaceful with neighbors. You know, it's very easy that when someone says something to you at home, quickly react and get upset. But take about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, pause, think about it, then respond more intelligently. The same thing with neighbors and others. As we become more peaceful, society becomes more peaceful, and world peace will dominate. If you have any question, I'll be happy to elaborate on it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for an overview of the activities you are doing and you have been done. Dr. Mehdi, I'm a bit confused with the definition of the peace. What actually it is?
Definition of peace. Would you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
Like, what is peace? You know,
Peace really starts with yourself, to be peace within yourself,
yeah.
to be comfortable with yourself, to
Hmm,
be able to control your temper, anger, your fear, everything. Not control, I mean, no longer makes sense. If you
hmm,
really become very peaceful, fear no place for in your heart, in
hmm,
your
hmm,
the peace, and hopefully we can promote this peace within community, society, country, and the world.
hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a complete sense for me when there is a question of individual's peace, yeah, inner peace, and there is a theory of inner peace which reflects outside, and we Sufis do believe in that. But when we now see what peace is meant for the superpowers and what peace politically means, that is absolutely changing the, like, the definition is changing overnight sometimes. I'm living in Pakistan, so in my neighboring country there is a war going on for last 40 years. The war was for peace, and every single day the war was changing its shape, and that change was for peace. Now the world was fighting with terrorism inside Afghanistan, and it was for peace. Then they started negotiating with Taliban, so it was again for peace. Now they withdrawn from Afghanistan after 20 years, so it is again for peace. And now the Taliban will fight for Kabul, and that again will be for peace. So it's similar with Syria. Look in Middle East with Iran, with Pakistan and India has a historical conflict over Kashmir. So everything which is disturbing the human life, which is causing the wars, there is a phenomena that it is for peace. So
Well, believe it or not, in America, an average American thinks America is the most peaceful country in the world. If
hmm,
you talk to average American, and when I talk to them and explain to them that really we're not that peaceful, as long as we are providing weapons to other countries, as long as we are supporting dictators in other countries, as as long as we invade other countries, we are not really peaceful people. Peace starts when we stop all this aggression, instead try to negotiate, start dialogue. Even on the attack in Afghanistan, if you look at the situation 2001, the 9/11 happened, and they picked up an easy target, Afghanistan. But if you
hmm,
look at the individuals who committed the atrocity of 9/11, they were all really more, 16 of them, I remember
hmm,
correctly, were Saudis. Three of them were country people who were motivated with Wahhabism. All of them, really, the country should have been worked with, not attacked, but worked with,
hmm,
should have been Saudi Arabia to stop supporting in people and teaching very radical aspect of Islam that really has no place in Islam. Islam is the religion of peace.
yeah,
I don't want to get into religion, but really, you look at just salam alaikum. You
yeah,
just started this session with salam alaikum.
yeah,
Basically, said peace upon you.
yeah,
This is a peaceful religion. We should not be resorting to the violence. And violence is outside Islam. You can't say I'm a Muslim and you still go and start killing people and attacking people. And that should have been done. But the easy target at that time was go and pick up a poor country like Afghanistan and and attack Afghanistan. And unfortunately, at that time, United States and Saudi Arabia worked very closely with the government of Pakistan, and they could get Pakistan on their side and provide a lot of finance money to, you know, uh, to do things
Hmm.
that the superpower want to do. And I think all that war was not necessary. And when
Hmm.
they won that war in Afghanistan, see what happened. Then they came up with innovation, making false allegation against Saddam Hussein. Then they invaded United States and their allies invaded Iraq.
Hmm.
That should not have been invaded.
Hmm.
So it just continues one thing after another one. Then we go to Somalia, we go, just a number of countries.
Hmm.
So I think the more Americans learn that America domestically may be okay, but internationally is not behaving properly. The battle is for America, and America will have better influence in the world if really its gesture is peaceful.
Hmm. That's right. I agree with you. And this is not a problem only with America. If we see historically, the Russia was there, and in the times of Soviet Union, they were just trying to invade and gain influence in more and more countries. And then there is a situation in Middle East, which is by now there is a two-way traffic is going on. Like there is a peace process taking place between Israel and the Arab countries, and there was a conflict we just witnessed in Gaza. So I wonder, until there is a war economy flourishing, peace will be challenged in a strong way.
Well, peace is challenged because people are not educated, are not informed what's going on. Majority of Americans I talk to, they think Israel is a victim,
Yeah,
and they look at Israel as a victim.
yeah.
But really, if they become informed and learn what's going on over there, Israelis are really aggressive. They're committing genocide. They're committing ethnic cleansing. If this information is passed to people and people understand it, I think their attitudes will change. Unfortunately, since the middle of 1985, a small group, and not becoming very dominant, evangelical in America, expanded, and a lot of Christians gradually lean towards them. And their thinking is, if all the Jewish people go back to Israel, they can expedite the
Hmm,
coming back of Jesus Christ. But
hmm,
at the same time, they violate the major principle of Christianity, which is love, and you
hmm,
cannot really support aggression in the name of religion when it causes a lot of destruction, and get by with it and call yourself Christian or whatever religion.
hmm.
So I think there's an issue in America, and hopefully in peace worldwide we try to, you know, educate people,
Yeah.
inform people that they
And
need
why
to be
not?
objective looking at issues.
Why not, Dr. Mehdi? We should give a chance to peace in Middle East as well. We should engage Israel in a peaceful manner with talks. Still, I don't. I believe that there are many countries who just don't recognize Israel as a country, and the aggression is there just because they think that okay, they don't recognize ourselves. They don't recognize our being. So why would we care about them? So if you want to engage someone and you want to have a better conclusion of the talks, I guess the first step is to recognizing someone's being.
Well, the issue is you look at all the Israeli agreements with the Palestinians.
Yeah.
You know, none of them Israeli so far has honored.
Yep.
If Israeli honor their agreements with Palestinian during in Clinton administration and hereafter, I think a lot of issues would have been resolved. To me, it's very difficult to think if Palestinian and Israeli can have an agreement, other countries cannot recognize Israel. I think
Hmm.
if those two parties get together, it makes it very difficult for other
Hmm.
countries and say Israel should not exist.
Hmm.
But again, you look at Israel in 1948 when Israel was formed. The Jewish people owned only 7% of Israel, of Palestinian lands, you know. And within a few years, by committing genocide and ethnic cleansing, they start having majority of lands. So, all that has to be resolved. The
But
Palestinians
there is
need to
an
become
argument, Dr. Mehdi. Sorry for interrupting you. There is an argument that in 1948 or 1967, who started the war? Those were not Israelis. We all know the fact that in 1948, Muslims, they just said, okay, we damn care about the UN resolutions and what UN has shaping the map in Middle East by giving Israel a small land and by giving Palestinians a piece of land. And that was a whole formula which was adopted by the Jewish of the land, but rejected by the Arabs. And then in 1967, we were the people who attacked Israel. And then when they defended themselves and invaded further on, they had half of our like half of the land of Egypt. And when it came on normalization, that was Israel who returned the land to Egypt and Jordan and Syria and elsewhere. So the conflict, we sometimes we have to recognize that yes, we were somewhere somehow on the wrong side, and we need to make it correct as well.
Well, the way that I look at it differently. Of course, I'm not an expert on Israeli and
Yeah.
Palestinian issues. I'm more, looking at the whole world, not just a particular area. But if I just remember, my recollection is that at the time that UN came and make the division of Israeli and also Palestinian, and the Jewish people own very little land. Yet
Yeah.
the UN give it majority of the lands.
Yeah.
Majority of the land, you go to that agreement. And I
Mm.
can see what the Palestinian and the Arab countries could not agree with such a division, which was purely unfair. And of
Mm.
course, you can see the reason was because the United States always stood behind the Israelis, and United Nations is heavily influenced by the veto power countries you
Mm.
know. And generally, the France and the UK, they align with United States.
Mm.
And for that reason, when they made a decision, instead of giving maybe 7 or 10% of the land to the Jewish, they give majority of the land to the Jewish. And that
Mm.
was really unfair to beginning. And that really, I can see what the Arabs and Arab countries got motivated to start
Mm.
attacking against Israel.
Mm.
So, just like somebody come and takes my home away from me, I'm not going to be waiting for police to
Mm.
come and make a judgment on that. I'm going to do my best to get my home back.
Mm. Mm. That's your viewpoint. And what about the Iranians? We often see that Iranians are blamed for unrest in Middle East, for the proxy wars in Middle East, and now we see that there is a shift in policy, and Iranians are becoming good again, and there is a pressure to uplift the sanctions from Iran.
Well, the way that we see it from outside, that I see it, Iran has played a very positive role. Not because
Mhm.
I'm Iranian, I have a lot of criticism. If you read stability report, Iran does not score very high. But we have to be objective. United States and allies introduced ISIS in Syria, and ISIS moved into Iraq. It was really the Iranian who took initiative to go and train Iraqis to fight against ISIS,
Mm.
and they gradually engaged America and Russia. Iran motivated Russia to enter
mm,
enter into the attacking against ISIS at, areas, and United States enter to to join, and at the end clean it up pretty much.
mm,
But Iran has played very positive role the way I see it from outside regarding terrorism in the region or not. The biggest problem we have is really a problem Muslim world, that we have Wahhabism and the preachers even today. If you go to Wahhabi sites, they teach that everybody else who doesn't believe like us, really, you can kill him, you can take their property, you can, take their woman, do all. And that's really, and it's done from Saudi Arabia. Saudi government should do something that these preachers do not get publicity, and cannot speak so openly in mosques and all that, encouraging people. We are the only right people. To me,
mm,
the way I see it, doesn't matter what your religion you have, you
mm,
conduct yourself properly, you respect other people, you know nobody should be bothering you, but we
mm,
all have must contribute regardless of religion.
mm.
Even the Jewish people, there are a lot of good Jewish people, and
Yeah.
some of them I meet in America, you know who are really for peace,
Mm,
and we all should be working for peace. But unfortunately, this kind of sect or cult within Islam is causing a lot of embarrassment for all Muslims, and also causing a lot of issues for the world, and I think needs to be dealt with in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Or, and the Muslim need to know that this is Islam is a peaceful religion, not a
mm,
warmongering religion. You look
mm.
at during the Prophet time, they were not a war of aggression. It was always defensive battles. So we need to learn to become more peaceful.
And there is some kind of reaction as well in the Muslims. Like if you see the situation in China, if you see the situation in Myanmar, so there is a genocide taking place. There are detention centers inside India. There is uh, road killing just because of cow eating, cow meat eating. Like
I agree.
it's
I agree.
so
You know,
there is a potential of reaction in the youth of Muslims, and what to do with them, how to make them calm, how to make them cool, how to assure them that, okay, gentlemen, these issues will be taken care of. You don't need to react. You don't need to be exploited by the terrorists.
I agree. It's very, very difficult to do, especially if the terrorist organization is supported with a lot of finances, and
Yeah.
they come and pay for the mosque and build the mosque and make it available to you, and at least teach you to read and write and all that. You naturally become very sympathetic, and you
Mm,
think that's a right face of the religion.
mm,
Yet, the religion really the operative is perhaps the most peaceful, the way I see it. And, I'm a Muslim, not because I was born a Muslim, because I think Islam is the most peaceful, uh, you know, uh, peaceful avenue,
mm.
the best, peace, teaching people. And people need to learn, and that's all the responsibility is really on us to educate the young people, our own children, and to
Mm.
teach them that the religion is a peaceful religion. I mean, to respect all of the people from all of the religions, as long as they conduct themselves well, peacefully.
So, Dr. Mehdi, thank you very much for giving us time. And for your last comments, I would love to ask you, what do you see the future of peace in this planet, on this planet?
And this land, you're referring to Middle East? Are you referring to Middle
Whole
East?
planet, whole the world, future
Well,
of peace in the whole world.
but it's really information, education. People learn more, become more educated, they understand the issues better. Even in America, it's very sad to see. I see my fellow Americans, they go and vote more of fear, because
Mm,
too much argument goes, hey, this will happen, terrorists will come, whatever. People that go and vote for one candidate is more aggressive versus the other one who is more peaceful, just because they're afraid. Fear is
yeah.
dominating in the way we vote. Even in America, which is well-educated nation,
Hmm.
imagine in the countries who are not well-educated, and people can easily be manipulated. So we
Yeah.
all we all must become more objective,
Hmm.
educated, and
Hmm.
know all the facts, pro and con, and participate in politics. We want
I
leaders
agree.
who who pursue peace, not
Yeah.
leaders who are promoting war and conflicts.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mahdi. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining
Thank you.
us, and hope to see you soon again with a new topic and in another podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Enjoyed it. May God be with you.
Thank
Masalam.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.